Super Mario All-Stars and the Sega Megadrive. Necessities for gracious living. Don't make me sick, goddammit! Ah yes, Super Mario All-Stars, one of the greatest video game collections released on one cartridge. Not only did this 1993 title compile all three NES Mario games with souped up 16-bit graphics, but it would even include an extra Mario Famicom Disk System Mario game that had previously been left in Japan. This title would be marketed as Super Mario and the Lost Levels. During the 16-bit wars, Sega Mega Drive owners would look on with envy as Super Nintendo players indulged in these remasters of 4 classic games. Little did these Sega fanboys know though, it would only be a matter of time until Mario All-Stars was playable on their hardware too. Well, kind of at least, as I will explain soon in today's video. So I am Lady Decade, and this is the story of the illegal Super Mario All-Stars for the Mega Drive. Sliding in before we move on, I just wanted to quickly mention that covering strange video game history is not exactly a trending topic on YouTube. It's tough to get YouTube to suggest my work. I can't tell you how much it helps me when you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Each interaction and comment helps push this obscure bootleggy gaming goodness into that mysterious algorithm. Well, that, and it just means the world to me that you like my content enough to do that. So thank you. Subscribe now or I'll beat you with a stick. Anyway, back on topic, gamers in the early 90s were given one of two choices. Take the blue pill and experience the popular Giga Chad known as Edgy the Hedgy, or instead take the red pill and play as the fat mustachioed plumber who can never get the girl. The choice was simple, Mario or Sonic, with the Super Nintendo and Mega Drive featuring a fair share of high quality games that would star each of their respective mascots. While this brand simplicity would often help gamers make a clear-cut, decisive choice between systems, if you grew up in a region where bootlegs run rampant, Mario and Sonic games would become available for both pieces of hardware. This brings us to this 1996 title sold under many dubious names, including Super Mario World or simply Super Mario Advance. But let's see what's happening if you boot up a copy of this now infamous game. Wow, just the sort of creative goodness I expect from a bootleg. While the title screen suggests that you may be about to play a game titled Super Mario World, if you press the start button you are moved to another title screen, displaying the name Super Mario Bros. As gameplay gets underway, it becomes apparent that many of the game's assets have been ripped straight from the Super Mario All-Stars version of Super Mario Bros. But before we delve into discussing gameplay that can be found here and this game's other oddities, let's discuss who the nefarious forces were behind this one. The game would be developed by a company known as Chuanpu Technology, which, like many companies focused on developing unlicensed bootlegs was based in Taiwan. According to SegaRetro.org, this development house had a close relationship with other bootleg specialists in the region, such as Never Ending Soft Team, Game Tech, and Sun Green, with the shady outfits often sharing not only staff members with each other but identical codes too. Hence one of the reasons why bootlegs often share the same game engines. As mentioned earlier, you will instantly notice that this dubious delight shares a lot of graphical assets with Mario All-Stars Super Mario Bros. But if you look closer, the first stage seems to be based on the Lost Levels, which featured the same graphics style. Regarding Mario himself, his sprite looks very different to what can be found in any official Mario game, and controlling him feels completely different too. His physics here are completely different from those found in the classic game that his assets were ripped from, and it's only a matter of time before you realise this Mario functions differently. Gone is the option to defeat enemies by simply stomping on their heads. In most cases, Mario must instead pick up wooden crates littered throughout the stage, which must be violently thrown at enemies. There are also these weird gemstone things that can be collected throughout the stages, and Mario can also defeat foes by hiding in the crates, solid snake style. These aren't the only attacks in this strange iteration of Mario's arsenal either, as he can even perform these terrifying Hadoukens.
Hadouken!
Bootleg Mario is ready for war with King Koopa and his minions.
Video game Armageddon.
Before progressing further, it is time for Patreon Question of the Week. I have a tiny group of individuals who help fund this show via Patreon, so to help honour these incredible people, I'm going to take a video game related question in my video. Today's question is from Atticus, who asks, what's your favourite Mario game and why? As I'm thoroughly impressed with an inventive ROM hack or two, I will say Super Mario Odyssey 64. Some absolute mad lad out there created a fully working version of Odyssey that runs on the Nintendo 64, an absurdity I loved exploring on this channel in the past. Thanks for supporting the show, Atticus, and if you at home want a question answered next week, back the channel via Patreon now. Anyway, back on with the show. As you can play through the game's early stages, you will continue to notice that the first few are based on and recycle assets from various stages, but by the third one, you'll see that things continue to get trickier. Inside one of Bowser's castles, you can often jump through the ceiling. The iconic Super Mario Bros. Ground theme continues to play, resulting in music that doesn't match the stage environment. Just listen to this. We finally get some different music in the boss battle against King Koopa. A fun little fight, to be fair, where we smite him using crates. Moving into World 2, there are more stages based on the Super Mario Bros. Ones, once again culminating in a fight with Bowser, but by World 3, things get weird. And I mean really, really weird. By the third section of the game, everything changes, with nothing left relating to the Mario franchise beyond Mario himself. In fact, the first of these stages look more akin to Sonic & Knuckles' Mushroom Hill Zone than it does the Mushroom Kingdom, but at least that annoying rendition of the ground theme has finally stopped repeating. Here, everything is different, including the enemies that must be taken on. Mario must have gotten lost during his adventure and wandered into someone else's game. The next boss is not King Koopa again, but a strange pig-like creature with a propeller attached to his back.
I mean, what is he? A Tesco value whiz pig?
Underappreciated video game villains aside, moving into the fourth world, we are still clearly a long way from the Mushroom Kingdom. I guess hitting his head on all of those question mark blocks must have given Mario some sort of dementia, as he clearly has no idea where he has ended up. Giant ostriches on unicycles in volcanoes must be overcome, and Green communist rhinos riding tanks must be defeated using bombs. This is undoubtedly Mario's most absurd journey yet, and things only get more odd when such demonic forces have been defeated. Mario soon finds himself in a Castlevania-like graveyard surrounded by ghosts, ghoulies and other terrifying creatures of the night. This makes me question whether this is a Mario adventure in the real world, or if he is tripping balls on drugs so hard his brain is manifesting something far more menacing than his usual hallucinations of the Mushroom Kingdom.
This is your brain. This is your brain.
On drugs.
While Princess Toadstool often gives Mario giant blue balls in his usual adventures, he is quite literally fighting giant blue balls here. This further makes me question whether this is some kind of battle taking place in Mario's warped incel mind. This fight even has a bell end.
Oh, I don't get coarse.
This absurd adventure appears to conclude in a vast Chinese factory, whereby he must defeat the elephant in the room. Like, quite literally, a giant elephant wearing a top hat.
Wait, top hat? Did someone say top hat? As in Big Daddy Top Hat?
No.
The game's ending shows us some enemies spotlighted against a stage backdrop before the credits roll, introducing us to everyone who worked on the game. In an interesting artistic choice, many of the staff members who worked on this weird game were immortalised in the form of super deformed artwork, which was a nice final touch. Now, reflecting back at this game, as fun as it was to crack so many jokes at its expense, there is clearly lots of shenanigans going on, especially when we bear in mind the first few stages take place in the Mushroom Kingdom before the rest of the game loses the plot. Quite literally. Another thing seasoned retro gamers may have noticed is that at least this game has striking play similarities to that of Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers for the NES, but as you all know, that was an 8-bit game. This clearly isn't a ROM hack of that. The real reason for this is because in reality this Mario game is a ROM hack of another game known as Squirrel King, a 1995 game from GameTech, who was one of Chuanpu Technologies' collaborators. Remember when I mentioned the sharing of source codes by bootleggers? Well, here is a perfect example. As for Squirrel King, the game mirrors the classic Chip 'n Dale game, explaining why the Mario one plays like a game you wouldn't expect it to have any relation to. Hilariously, when it comes to the Mario one, it seems that after the first two worlds, the hackers just gave up and stopped making changes to the game. Whether they ran out of time or got lazy is hard to say, but with this additional information, the rest of the game quickly makes much more sense. Amusingly, the legacy of Squirrel King itself somewhat lives on, as the game's license was acquired by Pico Interactive in the 2010s. The game could later be found in At Games Legends Ultimate Arcade Machine, hilariously alongside official Disney titles. Squirrel King has even since appeared as a playable title as part of the Ant Stream service, but sadly the only way to play the Mario version of the game is through more dubious methods. As mentioned earlier, if you want more like this, make sure you subscribe. You have no idea how much it helps me out. And if you want more like this one, check out my older video on Super Mario World for the Megadrive. Bye!